G'day guys, welcome back to another video with Enno from Fantasy Take TV. Today we're doing the round 11 review for SuperCoach. So just scored under 2400 this week, 2398, and went down just about 1,000 spots to 12.7k. And when you score almost 2400, you think, bang, big week, we're going up, but not to be this season. This season's been unbelievable, just in general, scoring-wise. I know people have pointed out before, but if you're on 25,000 points last year up until this point, you're probably in the top 1,000. But that is just not the way this season's gone. There's been some unbelievable picks at good prices, value prices that have just felt like all of them have worked this season. And I've even nailed a couple of recent, but when you miss a couple of them early, like I did, it just makes it awfully hard to catch up. So we've had I think it was 2 out of the last 4 weeks I've had like top 1,000 for the round weeks, or top, I think, like 1,500 and made big jumps, but then just had too many weeks where it's just been 30, 40,000 for the round and you just don't make any ground. So need a few more of those big weeks during the buys. Hopefully we're set up pretty well. I'll run you through that when I get to my trades, and then after the trades I'll show the team. But yeah, just been a difficult season. So down to 15 trades. Ideally, wouldn't use any this week, but I think I'm just going to be a bit aggressive and go for it. So nothing to lose really at this point when you're ranked 12,000 halfway through the season. So let's get into the team. I mean, there was some big scores this week, and I had majority of them. It's just I also had majority of some poor ones from premiums as well. So my trades were with the Bruce News. He was out or still out after his illness the week before. I just thought I'd get out of that now. He's got a bit of money tied up to him. Get it now. Get the points on field. Don't want to be fielding Sam Hayes really. So, Wits had that good matchup. I was down a premium with Baz as well. Like, we'll get onto my trades this week, but last week they were looking really good. Got Baz in, got Track in. They both turned up almost 120s. And Rory Thompson, who was good for a quarter, and then he obviously went down. And then this week you lose Baz to illness. Obviously Thompson's out, and Track plays through his supposed illness or flu or whatever. So from one week to the next, those trades looked awesome. Baz obviously was going to get DPP, which he has now. And getting him at 530 was an awesome play, or seemed like a great play. Would have got that West Coast matchup, probably gone well there. But anyway, we won't drain our sorrows on that. But yeah, so just funny how things can go in 1 week. But this week was Bruce to Wits, and then to make that all happen, I had to get rid of Nick Martin and get Cripper Stevens. So look, I didn't think Nick Martin was done forever. He managed to bounce back, turned up in fantasy, or had a really good game in that format. But it was a bit weird. He feels like he gets underscored. I had him in round 1 for that 5-goal haul, and I know the game was dead, but he didn't go as massive as you'd think. But nonetheless, that were my trades. Wanted just to get Wits in and think that was going to be a big, juicy matchup for him. Didn't go as well as you planned. There wasn't many stoppages in that game, but I still think he'll be a solid pick for the rest of the season. They got North this week. Gold Coast, in fact, have North and West Coast both 2 more times the rest of the season. So that obviously bodes well for Took and the like. They don't really have too many other premiums, but these 2 that I have to go with. So, they should have good second halves of the year. But anyway, those trades left me about 100k in the bank, and I will probably be using that this week. So we started the defence. Sicily, just been an unbelievable trade in about, I think around 5 for about 500k or just under, but unbelievable, just been unreal. So if you started with him, very well done at 440 or whatever. But had so lucky and happily that I jumped on him when I did. So he's D1 by price, I think, and then obviously not far away with average either. Tom Stewart, just been an unreal starting pick as well. What was he, 580k or something, and he did miss the 1 game with Castro, but to be where he is, and I think he's like 3rd or 4th on total points, even with missing a game, is just bonkers. So he's been an unreal pick as well. And then with another big score like that, 174, he's pretty much priced everyone out who doesn't have him for at least pretty much after the... Like, if you're not getting him really now, you're probably foregoing him for the rest of the season, which is really good. It sort of blocks him off from everyone else, and just hope he can continue the form. Georgie Hewitt, who most people or all should pretty much have, has been just unreal. Just scores 115, 120 every single week. Still hasn't gone under 110. When is that going to be? Who knows? It's just been an unreal pick. Jordan Dawson started him as well, and he's just been very consistent all season long. Can't complain with him. Roles changed a bit here and there as the season's gone on, but sort of seems he's set on the wing now. And then drifts into defence when I think he sees fit or when he needs to. So, yeah, really good. Happy with him. He's just consistent as ever and great to watch. Just got a lovely left boot on him. So, happy with Dawson. Shorty is a little bit concerning just with his role. Like, I did say it a month ago when he had that massive game against West Coast. Yes, it looks good, but it's West Coast. And then he did do all right. I mean, we had a few, not easy kills, but easier matchups, so to speak, and he played pretty well in them. Come up against a good team in Sydney, and when you play more forward mid like he is, I know he kicked a couple of goals and one absolutely elite goal just after half time. It's going to be harder. It's just going to be more inconsistent. It's not going to be your consistent 100, 110. You might drop an 85 like he is here, but he might also go big in one game as well. So I still think he can average about 105, maybe a little bit less from here on, which isn't the greatest. But if this role is going to continue, then I see that as the best likely outcome. But we definitely want him behind the ball, but I just don't know if that's going to happen or if it is gonna go back to that. Don't know what Dimmer wants to do. So I think it's going to continue for at least the short term. Whether he switches back later on, who knows? Was able to loop here, so DeConning played early, looped him with Dacos. They played early on the Saturday, scored the 75, which I took. So put Thompson on and got 16 points out of that, getting his score over Dacos, which is good. Dacos I just got to hold at this point. He's too important for me. Throughout the buys, he will drop a little bit of cash. I think his break even's like 90 again this week. So hopefully he just puts in a good 1 or 2 more games for me, and then he can go. And then DeConning will go next week during his buy. So they've been great. I made the mistake of trading Paddy McCartan about a month ago, so that was a very poor trade by me. He's made another 80k or something, 90 since I got rid of him, so that would have been handy. But him and DeConning, if you've got them, they're one more week out of those boys, and then you'll look to move them on next week and make an upgrade. It's the mid, so I had the VC on Clary. He had a big one last week, of course, which I got, but this week he just hurt himself with ball use. He was getting a stack of the footy early on. He just, too many clangers and ineffective touches, so kept his score low and missed the big one from Neil that I think a lot of us did, really. I know JD got it, which was good for him. But it wasn't a massive percentage of people that got this score this week, so it was good pod selection if you did get it, for sure. So, one thing I should mention on Stewart, I'm going to put the VC on that guy in round, I think 16 it is. They play North down at Cardinia Park, and at Cardinia Park, or whatever you want to call it, GMHBA, the game style they play there is just ridiculous. And against teams like Adelaide, bombing it long, North are going to do the same. It's going to be an absolute feast for him. So, got to start looking at Stewart VC, and even Sicily if you wanted to try that. I mean, he's shown he's got a bit of a ceiling. So, just something to think about. So Neil, unreal. He's going to be M1, I think, unless Clary can get him at some point. But those two have just been unbelievable this season. They're probably the two leaders in the Brownlow. I know Cripper had a great start, but he's dropped off a little bit. So it's probably Neil's to lose, you'd say at this point. McRae, there's just too many points going around the Dogs. You look at their list when you look at the scores, and it's just... they got 8 tons almost every week. Even you look lower in your 80s and 90s, it's just a lot of players scoring points. It makes it hard for someone to go massive every week. And when you got English going 160, there's more points going there. So, and to think Baz didn't even play as well. Like, there's just so many guys getting points. So, probably stay away from captaining McRae for the time being. I think I already had that in my mind. That's why I went wits over him this week, because I captained him for a 90 about a month ago. So, I think just stay away from him. And Took, you could probably argue the same. He just isn't as trustworthy as we thought he might be. I know he had a good few weeks, and then he just was really average to start this game. Was on 20 or 30 for almost half time. So he was able to salvage good score, but it gets north this week, so it's like you want to have some sort of VC or C on him, but he might be my backup option. I don't know, but they should have a good back half of the year. I mean, Gold Coast historically don't, but they do have a good draw, so I think they only play 2 or 3 top 8 teams, or current top 8 teams here on the rest of the season. So, yeah, Touk needs to bounce back, or needs to go big for a second half of the year, like his form last year, Tukey. So come on, mate. Track, yeah, this was disappointing. Spoke about it before. Played through his illness and dropped to 50. So he's going to be nice and cheap for anyone who doesn't have him. Probably at a bit of a poor time, probably around his buy. But if he's your absolute last upgrade, then that'll be good for you at probably 520 or something, 530. So is annoying, but not much you can do there. Cripper bounced back, which was good. He didn't have to do much to bounce back from his last couple of weeks, but yeah, we're not going to get well, I didn't get it anyway, but that Cripper from the first 8 weeks is probably gone. He was just, had a good pre-season, was just riding high in really good form. Just don't know if that's going to continue for the back half of the year. Probably get more like a 110, 115 from him rather than a 120 plus, but that's obviously going to be enough to hold on to him. So barring injury or a really, really big form slump, he'll probably stay for the rest of the season. Then with the rookies, I looped Stevens like I did with DeConning. Played early. He scored 46. So, I was already down a premium this week. I thought I'll just field McComb and Clark, and that proved to be a bit more get more points for me on field. So probably got 17 or whatever it is ahead of Stevens. So that was good. Baz obviously didn't play, and then Carroll. Oh, he was a sub and he just did not look up to it. So I don't know if he's going to get a game. I'll probably say 95% no from here on out. And we were really going to require him in round 13, which is just not going to happen. So he might be going for me this week just to make a trade work. Witz, as I said, got him in, stuck the captaincy on him, got an extra 6 points over Clary, which obviously helps, but we expected more from him. It's just there was only about 40 stoppages, which, I looked across most other games this weekend, 80 or so stoppages. It just wasn't enough. The ball just wouldn't go out or wouldn't lock in for a ball up. I don't know what the hell was going on. Just maybe something to do with Darwin. So they're there again this week. Hopefully there's more stoppages for him. I'll be right back. I'm a believer. Not a sense. Got my mind. I'm a believer. I believe it. We'll see if that gets past the copyright this time, but hopefully you can hear me. Oh, I can't even see in this, but I don't know what the threshold is, but if Shrek scores, I think 120 will go on from here on out. I'll put the mask on. But my God, I got the heater on at home and it's freaking hot in here. Gorn owners, I know he scored 118. I know he didn't go terribly himself, but the Shrek had him on toast. It was just all over him in the second half. I mean, what was Gorn doing, mate? He was nowhere near him. So, look, it was like when, LeBron came into the league and MJ was in his last couple of years at Washington, and they call it the passing of the torch, and it just happened right there on the MCG on the weekend. Gorn is finished. Shrek is the future. So, look, if you don't have him by now, I don't know what the hell you are doing. He is, 580k with an 80 break even or something. So, if you don't, 68. If you're not getting him this week, what are you doing? So, I'll go get this off. Shrek is love. Shrek is life. Oh. Look, if Shrek's going to keep pumping out scores, I'm going to have to start, I don't know. That mask is just way too hot. Yeah, look. What do you call this? You call it the shits combo now, don't you? Shrek and Wits. But, look, there is a world in where this man is averaging 120 like Wits is. He hasn't... he would have missed the round one, obviously, but hasn't missed a game since, and it's been the genius selection of the year, but not to be. Obviously, the play was to probably go to Wiz back then and then get Shrek in the last few weeks, but now they've got the combo here, and look, honestly, who is Max Gawn? Who wants Max Gawn anymore? Nah, I'm obviously kidding. Like, got to pay respect to probably the GOAT ruckman of the last, well, probably even almost the GOAT ruckman full stop, especially if he wins a flag or two, or a flag or two more than he already has. But yeah, it was just awesome to watch. Like, I wasn't expecting the 140 from him. I was expecting maybe a ton at best. But he was just unbelievable. And Freo obviously turned their form around, which does obviously helps, especially when you need hit outs to advantage and stuff like that. Need the mids to be switched on. But anyway, we'll move on. Sammy Hayes. I know if you were fielding him this week, I'll take a 60, even though obviously it wasn't on my field. I didn't want it to be too big of a score. I just need him to hold his cash, play in round 13, and then he'll go as well. And then the forward line probably looks a lot different to anyone else's forward line, but besides Dunks, of course, he's just a machine. Darcy Cameron being another just outrageous pick. Somehow I've landed on this one. Obviously not as good as others, but yeah, with no Brody, obviously, which is, I would say, pick of the year. I probably don't even need to question that is pick of the year. A last buy round forward like DC, who can, he's going to end up making 150k for me, and then switch to a Bont or something in the last buy round is going to be very pivotal for me. Butters has turned his form around the last 3 weeks, been really good. Heaney needs to be spoken about. Obviously, people are going to trade him, and I might even be one of them. So, roll week to week is just different. I don't know. 2 weeks ago, full time in the midfield against Carlton, and looked one of their best midfielders that night. Last week, or just gone, a lot more forward. I don't mind the forward time. It's just his teammates don't use him as much anymore. He's not flying for as many marks anymore. And when he gets the chances, he's not finishing them like he was in the first month or so. So he's just a big form dip. Still averaging 100 across the year, and I'm probably going to trade him out, which just is weird. But there's one guy that I just need. So normally I would advise holding. I normally probably would hold for the season. It's just, to get one guy in this week, Heaney's probably got to go. But yeah, if you don't have trades, and I'll be perfectly fine holding him. I feel like he will turn his form around at some stage. Sydney are just an up and down team themselves, and he probably envisages that. So, I probably expect him to turn it around. He's obviously not going to average 115, 120 like he was. Probably around your 100 to 105 absolute best from here. So he's still getting shots on goal. He just isn't finishing them as many as he would. And it's not always going to be full-time mid or as much mid-time as we think. It's just sort of a week-to-week thing. Horse wants to get young guys through there. I mean, look, you saw Mills go to half-back. I know they lost... or they were under the pump and whatnot, and they lost a defender or something, didn't they? But anyway, he will bounce back, I think, just not as good as he was in the first month of the season. Cog has got the roll back. That's what we want to see. I know last week was a big score. It was against West Coast. Who really cares? This week against Brisbane with a good mid-time roll. I know he scored 85, but it was like 110 dream team or whatever. He's got the position. That's what we want to see. He's going to butcher it. That's Cogs. That happens. But the role is what we want to see, and it's there. Durden had to field out of one of these rookies. He was the best of the lot, so got the most points as I could there. So can't be too upset, even though it's not the greatest score. And then Rioli and whatnot. They just got to play through the buys, these boys. Hopefully pull out a big score from them somehow. I don't expect to, but hopefully one of them kicks a bag or something soon. All right, let's go to the trades. So... yes, I did mention trading Heaney. That is probably what I'm going to do. And I think you can probably guess why. And that's because George's name, or favourite bloke, no speaker out of English. He just has to come in. I don't know. We were going to get him, and I think a lot of people were, if they didn't already have him after the first month. That round 5, I think. And randomly did his hammy that week. So changed plans. Got Steele, I think, that week, which... turned out terribly. Obviously got a good score from him, and then a couple of 70s, and then he had to go. So, yeah, there's a world where that was English and we're flying, but not to be. So he just looked unreal. The stat line, I know it's West Coast. He does it all. He gets 20 to 25 touches a week. He can kick a goal, marks around the ground, and then you add that on top of the ruck work. It's just a perfect recipe for a fantasy player. So it's like he's averaging, 128? He's going to be... he's not going to keep that up. Probably maybe 115, 120 best. I don't know. Who knows? He could probably do it with the role he's got. So I mean, Sweet was still playing, and he still put these type of numbers up. But yeah, he's a clear top 1 forward, top 2 maybe at worst. Maybe if Bont goes on a run, but just got to find a way to get him. And unfortunately, I've got to find money to do it, $23,000. So Carroll, I did say, probably isn't going to get a game. I would say in round 13, it's going to look like an absolute idiot if he does. But got to get Mitch Owens, who, yeah, funnily enough, I traded out 2 weeks ago. He looked awesome. Yeah, 17, 18 touches, 10 tackles, kicked a couple of goals. Rats spoke highly of him in the presser. I cannot see him getting dropped for round 13. Whether he plays how far after that, who knows? But that is literally all we need him for. Which is funny, of course, because I had him 2 weeks ago. But doing this, we'll go through my buys now and what they sort of look like. So if we move this up a tad, just scroll down. For this week, don't you love SuperCoach? When that happens, you just scroll down. You've almost got it all on screen. I'm sure all of you go through this trying to screenshot and then... Oh, just got it. Just scroll. I don't know why they haven't fixed that yet, but anyway. So for this week, we've got full defence. Dacos just super important for me to hold. For the buys, Stevens will come on here. Baz can go down here, obviously with his DPP now, which is lovely. We get Durden there, and yeah, whatever. Put Curtis there. So 21 this week, which is really solid. Cicely Stewart is... I'm so happy that he's not happy, but well, I am. But he's priced people out of being able to really pick him up, and the fact he has that middle buy, it makes it hard. So that's how we line up this week. I am chucking the VC straight on to English with that matchup. But I know Blitzarth has actually been pretty good, and crazily enough, he's kind of an option. Not that people will probably go for it because we've got so many good defenders, but if you wanted to be left field and a bit crazy, he could be your guy at D6 or whatever. Defender ruck status, you could get that Carlton Dominic Akui at ruck 3 eventually when Hayes goes, and he could be your ruck cover from defence, which is just hilarious, but it is somewhat of an option. But it is a bit unknown with Stanley coming in and out. But anyway, I digress. The captain, like I was saying during the review, is probably going to be Took. I hope we don't have to even use it because Took does make you a little bit nervous. I'll be honest, I'll probably back out and go Clary just because he's safer, but hopefully we don't even have to worry about it. Sorry, it isn't 21. Rory Thompson isn't playing. You probably said that already and commented it, but yes, no, it is 20, not 21 because Thompson is out. But for next week is more important to look at, and we have 4 in defence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 10, 12, and that is 17. So it's obviously not 18 yet. The trades we will probably be making. DeConning, everyone will be trading him out. Macomb, he'll be at a nice price, about 260, 270, pending how he goes this week. That leaves me about 650k. It's just not quite enough to grab a Sinclair. He's going to be 550, 560, I think he is. He went too big the last 2 weeks. And if I only want to do those 2 trades and not use 3, the real options that I might be able to sneak Doherty, depending how these guys go. Who's I think 530. Obviously, I think I prefer Sinclair, but Doc probably just as good. It's just moisture ability is my concern. Or the mid option and go Zach Merritt, who we'll probably talk about on the pod tonight. We'll definitely talk about him on the podcast tonight. He's 520, and he can go 115. I know it's not pretty, it's not sexy. There's nothing sexy about the Merritt pick, but he's durable. I mean, I know he got injured this year, you just say that, but he is historically very durable. He came back pretty quick from that syndesmosis anyway, but if he goes at worst 110, obviously you prefer it to be a Parish who can probably at very best or very, very well go 120. Yes, that's 10 points a week. Over the course of 10 weeks, it's probably, 100 points total that you're missing out on. It's obviously you'd prefer to have that 100. Parish might get you a couple of good captaincy scores as well, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not actually as terrible as you think. Ideally, wouldn't want to go Zero. I'd probably want to go Sinclair or something and lock up what looks to be like his top 6 defender, but it looks unlikely at this point. So that's what we do. So that makes it, DeConning and Macomb, whoever that ends up being, premium-wise, it'll be Jacob Ware as the other one, as a rookie, provided he plays, and that should get us to 19. So, with wiggle room of someone getting dropped, maybe Owens doesn't get up, that'd be disastrous. Or maybe Ware doesn't come through, and we just have to go a loophole or, I don't know, Charlie Dean or something ridiculous, and still get a premium to make it 18. That's probably where we'll sit. So, we'll be tight that week, and then round 14, everyone should be sweet by then. You would have made trades off buys by now. Pretty much everyone's playing. The premiums, I'll just be missing a Sicily, Oliver, Neil, Petraka, Darcy. So, be missing 5 premiums. Darcy Cameron will go, Nick Dacos will go. That'll get me another one in, and then we'll be looking pretty sweet. So, that's where it sits this week. Obviously, yes, it is 20, not 21 that are playing. No Rory Thompson, but probably put the VC on English. I'm going to end up, hopefully, DC will become Bont, and I'll have the 4 dogs plus Cogs and Butters. So, no Luke Parker. I mean, maybe I will have to go Luke Parker. It depends how Bont goes in the near future. So, and DC as well. Hopefully, DC can go well and get up to a really good price when he's time to trade out. So, that's the team. We'll see on the podcast and the trades video later on in the week. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.